I want to get this out so that I might be able to sleep tonight. I actually planned on launching this YouTube channel at some point. I've currently been streaming on Twitch, sharing my art, and I planned on launching this YouTube channel eventually as like a sister, as like a companion to that. When I had the time and I guess the energy. I can't think of a better first video for a channel that I'm going to put out than this. For the last 48 hours, I have been a wreck. Right. And it's because we lost the Comicstorian, which if you're in the comics, like if you're in the online comics fandom, you probably know that by now, obvious, like most likely, right? It's been a couple of days. I've been reading comics. I've been reading comics since before I can remember, right? For as long as I can remember, comics have defined my life. Like Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, whatever you want, right? And there's always been something that I've essentially, it's not something that has always been socially, like something that I can just engage with socially with my peers. There's obviously a few outliers to that, but by and large, it's just, that's just a matter of the fact, right? In the mid 2010s, I discovered Comics YouTube, which at that point consisted of the big hitters in Comics YouTube. Comic Pop, Comicstorian, Comics Explained, things like that. And that allowed me to have, through podcasts, through videos, through streams, through forums, Discord channels, all sorts of things. It allowed me to finally find a space where I can talk about comics and hear people talk about comics in a way that just I didn't have in my everyday life. And so I have spent the last at least 8 years listening to, week in, week out, without fail, the stories, thoughts, opinions, the just the infectious, energetic sharing of love of comics through Benny's work, right? And so every time a movie came out, I got to hear his thoughts, in conversation with Rob from Comics Explained, or with Sal from Comic Pop, or with other people as well, which is kind of one of the coolest, like one of the things that I've seen, even especially in these tributes, one of the things that I've seen as one of Benny's greatest attributes, right? That he included, if someone was in the comic space, like in the comics, like commentary space, he was inclusive of them. Like there are new channels coming up this year, like in 23, 24, that Benny went out of his way to engage with. There were up and coming channels like Gem Mint that Benny went out of his way to do the Loki reviews with Gem Mint and and his crew, and things like that. Like, he had no shortage of love for people that were like coming, had so much potential, and Benny just sewed into those people. Like, I saw it. You saw it week in, week out, every opportunity he had. I watched him on the weekly poll. I watched him do his comics experiment, the Rob and Benny experiment. I watched him then launch Absolutely with Sal, and especially through the pandemic, Benny and Sal's voices were in my ears week in, week out, talking about Spider-Man, X-Men, Batman, when any, like, everything from the MCU, trailer reviews, like everything. And here's the wild thing. Here's the thing that I love, I think is the coolest thing about what Benny did. He was so talented in a way that he gave out such a diverse range of content. Like, and it showed that he was passionate about, like, so many different things. Because, like, a lot of the tributes that I've seen have been about his narration videos, right? People that have found him through because his main bag was doing narration videos of old comics, like Injustice year 1 to 5. A lot of people found him through that video. And other videos like that, like Batman videos, through his narration videos. Just because of the type of content I like to engage with, I engage with his podcast content a bit more so. And so I got to especially encounter Benny as he engaged with his friends and family about comics. So in podcasts with Sal, with Dan and Andy, things like that. And that doesn't even scratch the surface, right? That's the wildest thing. He did Mangastorian. He did, he did rant videos. He did this hot sauce thing. He did D&D. He did art, right? He did writing, creative writing. Like, he did so much stuff. He got to write for, like, Bloodshot comics, which is so cool. He became a really cool interviewer as well, getting to regularly interview people like Scott Snyder. Like, that is, like, his breadth of ideas, passions, and and dedication is something that I've never ever seen before. Like, I couldn't even name you another channel that has 3 million subscribers on YouTube. That's probably because I don't. You know, it's probably like a musician or something, but like genuinely someone that's just like built up a channel from scratch. You know, the dedication and he was so open and honest about his history, his life, his story, and even how he was feeling. Because something that's really, I think, important as content creators, I think personally, is being open and honest about, you know, transparent about how doing online content affects you at, you know, not in a dumping kind of manner, but like, I tend to gravitate towards creators that are open and honest about when they're feeling burnt out and things like that. And Benny was open and honest about when he was feeling burnt out and what he was doing to work past that and through that. And I have heard this incredible person's voice in my ears about comics 8 years. And it became so commonplace, not just for me, but for so many people. Like, I was genuinely like, and because I watch the Absolutely recordings on Twitch. So I was, as with every week, I was ready to go. I was like, it was like Tuesday, Wednesday. I flicked on Twitch and I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's watch the next one. You know, because they always record videos about the new Deadpool and Wolverine movie or whatever. And just, this is something that I personally have never had to grapple with in this degree before. Like, he became so prevalent and integral to my life, genuinely, that I still can't fully wrap my head around the fact that he's not with us anymore. Like, it's actually wild, right? Like, it's bonkers. It doesn't make any, like, this doesn't actually make any sense. And so I guess I just want to, I just got one more thing on my brain, right? To pop out. I have enjoyed seeing every single tribute, and this is kind of what's encouraged me to put my own out there. This is a brand new channel. No one's going to see this, most likely, right? But I just wanted to put it out there. I just wanted to record this because I think it might be a bit healing for me. I have seen thousands of millions of tributes on Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Millions of them. Random people that just wanted to engage in the comics medium that got to do so because of Benny. Because of the work that he put in. Because of the thing that he started. And I kind of wanted to put like just a love and hearts to the people that are feeling what I'm feeling, and to the people that even worked with Benny and are feeling like probably 10 times like the people that I'm listing in my head right now that worked with Benny, knew Benny closely, probably feel a million times worse than I do right now, right? I want to just put love and hearts out to the universe for anyone that is feeling the void that not having Comicstorian in our lives has created, because Comicstorian this is actually something that was in my head earlier. Occasionally, as a podcast topic, you would hear, they would do like, what's a comic book? Like, what's a Spider-Man Mount Rushmore, right? What's a Marvel Mount Rushmore? Things like that. In the comics commentary Mount Rushmore, Benny is number one. Like, that is not even up for debate. It's just not. It can't be, because to use a phrase that Benny often did in this day and age, like, we have so many of the fans that comics have now because of him. So I wanted to just put peace and hearts out, just love and hearts out to everyone that's feeling shit about this. Because I can't even imagine. I genuinely can't even imagine. So yeah, I think as I said at the start, this is the first upload on this channel. I had a whole ton of recorded footage ready to edit to put up on this channel for art videos, and honestly, this makes sense as the first video, because so much of what I know about content creating and engaging with an audience and being a genuine and kind person online and being doing work online, being a creative online, like just all of that, so much of what I know about that comes from watching Benny. Like, literally anything that I put out from now on, so much of what I know about putting things on the internet, the wherewithal of how to go about that comes from Benny and watching Benny. So yeah, it's waking up knowing that Comicstorian is not with us is the worst feeling. And so I want to send out love and hearts, and honestly, one more cracker coon. Wherever Benny is, crack-a-coom.